I want to tell you something that took me a long time to figure out. And that's if your brand isn't growing the way that you know it should, it's probably not a marketing problem. Now, I know the ads are probably targeting you right now, wanting you to believe that. But after 15 years of building brands from the inside out, I've seen this pattern way too many times to stay quiet about it. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what's going on and what you could do about it. Now, here's what I've been seeing over and over again. A founder has a real offer, real results, and a real expertise. And they know that what they do is genuinely valuable. So they do what makes sense to them. They invest in more content. They hire someone to run all their ads. They optimize their funnels, and they try all the new platforms. And yet growth still feels like they're pushing water uphill. And the really frustrating part about this is they can't figure out why, because on paper, they're doing everything right. Now, here's what I've come to understand when it comes to working with founders at various stages of growth. You can't outmarket your way out of a positioning problem, and you can't out-strategy your way out of an identity problem. More marketing on top of confusion doesn't fix the confusion. It just spreads it further, faster, and at a greater cost. So how do you know if this is actually what's going on for you? Well, here are 4 signs that I see most consistently when working with founders. Sign number 1, your message lands differently every time you explain what you do. You'll describe your work in one way to one person, but then describe it differently to somebody else. And neither version feels quite right. Now that inconsistency, that isn't a communication problem, that's a clarity problem. Sign number 2, you're attracting clients who are almost right, but not quite. They're not bad clients, they're just people who aren't fully in your zone yet. People who haggle on the price or who need a little more hand-holding than expected. These are the people who aren't quite ready for what you actually do at your best. So your message is calling to the wrong room, and the wrong room is responding. Sign number 3, you feel like you're constantly over-explaining your value. In sales calls, in your bio, in all of your content. You spend a lot of energy and time trying to convince people that what you do is worth it. Now that exhaustion, that's a signal. The right clients, the ones who are built for what you do, they should recognize the value before you even finish explaining it. And sign number 4, growth feels forced. Every new client feels like something that you had to go out and get, like you're pushing uphill, or like you're working twice as hard for half the results. Now, a brand that's built on real clarity, it doesn't just attract clients, it pulls them in towards you. And if it doesn't feel like that yet, that's your signal. Now, here's the thing. None of these are a marketing problem. They're all just symptoms of the same root cause, a clarity problem. So what is a clarity problem exactly? A clarity problem is an identity problem in disguise. It's when there's a gap between how powerful your work actually is and how clearly the world sees it. I call this the authority gap, and most scaling founders have one. Now, the authority gap shows up when your internal knowing, the depth of what you understand, and the quality of what you deliver doesn't match your external expression. Things such as your messaging, your positioning, and how you show up in rooms. And here's the part that most people miss. The authority gap is almost never a skills problem, and it's rarely even a messaging problem on the surface. At its root, it's an identity problem. It comes from not having fully committed to the version of yourself that your work already reflects. Now, I know that might sound more philosophical than practical, but stay with me because this is where everything actually changes. Here's what I've watched happen when founders close their clarity gap. They spend less on ads and more on qualified conversations. Not because the ads got better, but because the message underneath them finally got clear. Their content starts doing the selling before the sales calls even happen. People show up to the discovery calls already convinced, already knowing that this is the person that they want to work with. Sales conversations get much shorter and much easier because they're not convincing anymore, they're confirming. And growth stops feeling like something that they have to push. It now starts feeling like something that's pulling them forward. So here's where I want to leave you. Before you invest in more content, more ads, or even a new strategy, it's worth spending 5 minutes to find out if what you actually have is a clarity problem. I built a free tool specifically for this called the Authority Gap Diagnostic, and it takes about 5 minutes, but it'll show you exactly where your gap lives and what you need to do to address it first. The link is in the description, but I've also pinned it in the comments below. If this video resonated with you, subscribe, because everything that I'm sharing here is built around one idea, and that's the most powerful brands are not built from the outside in. They're built from the inside out. I'll see you in the next one.